Welcome back to our coverage here. 2016 Peter Bacogny Vancouver Fencing World Cup on Via Sports coming to a close.
But they'll push Germany out. Germany's 8. Hungary 7, Germany's 8. No, Germany might not be going.
Before we introduce the finalists, can we have another round of applause again for the athletes who competed here and the 192 who competed over this weekend.
Mesdames et messieurs, pour nous adresser le maire de Richmond.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of Richmond now will say a few words of the event. His Worship, Malcolm Brodie.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome you here to the city of Richmond and to the Richmond Olympic Oval. If you were here 6 years ago, this was the venue for the long track speed skating for the 2010 Winter Olympic Games. And what you see here now was the original vision for what the long-term setup for the Olympic Oval would be. And we are so pleased to have the Peter Bacogny Men's Épée World Cup competition right here in the city of Richmond as we welcome 192 competitors from 37 different nations with 23 teams. I want to welcome each and every one of you here to the Oval. This is what it all boils down to, is the next match. And so many of the competitors that you have been seeing for the last couple days will be going to the Olympic Games. So these are competitors at the very highest level in the world. So welcome to Richmond, and thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. Now we'd like to ask our co-committee chair, Igor Gansevich, to come up and walk us through the next stage of the event.
All right, everyone. This is the moment that I've been waiting for sure. And let's, if you guys want to see these guys, we need some excitement because the final spot, the 8th spot for the Olympic Games, will be decided right now. So let's bring a warm welcome to all of these competitors and cheer them on to Rio and let the best team win. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our two final teams. These two teams will go to 45 hits with 9 different bouts. If the time runs out of 3 minutes, the next bout will go immediately to the next round. If there's no hit awarded within 1 minute in each bout, it's an automatic as well next match. So we'll go to the next match as well. So, Team Hungary, are you ready? From Team Hungary, the 2013 World Champions from Hungary, Gábor Bocskó, Géza Imre, András Redli, and Peter Szomfai. Gábor Bocskó is the 7-time European champion. He is a world champion and a silver medalist at the Olympic Games. Géza Imre is the 2015 World Individual Champion. He is a silver medalist and a bronze medalist at the Olympic Games. András Redli, 2013 Dynamo Summer Open Vice Champion. He lost to me in the final. He is the 2014 European Champion, Individual Champion. And of course, the 2013 World Champion. And Peter Zsenyi, or Peter Szomfai. He is the 2009 and 2010 European Champion. This is the Hungarian national team. And they will be versus Team Kazakhstan, Elmir Alinjanov. Elmir is the 3-time Asian champion, 2 individual, 1 team. He's the 2012 Olympian. Mr. Alexanin, he's the 2012 Olympian and Asian champion. Mr. Kurbanov is on the Kazakh national team and former top in junior in the world. And Mr. Sherlamayov, junior Asian champion, the Kazakh national team. This event will be reffed by Mr. Giuliano Ranza. It's from Italy. Mr. Pascal Cantin from Canada. And the side referees will be Dmitry Balashov, Canada, and Matthias Henkelmann from Germany. Everyone, thank you so much, and let's get going. Best of luck, and our road to Rio will end in an hour. Go boys.
Ciao, Andres.
So Matt, the final is set. Hungary, Kazakhstan, it all comes down to this. The road to Rio ends here effectively. One of them will be going. What do you think is going to happen here? What do you see coming out? 32 teams we had this morning in Richmond, British Columbia. 2 teams we have now. Any predictions?
Well, you look at the way that Igor introduced the teams, and just from an outsider, it seems that the Hungarians have a lot more experience and medals under their belt, I guess you could say. But that doesn't mean that the Kazakhstan team won't be putting a darn good fight. So my prediction is that it's going to be close, but it will favor the Hungarians.
We have our world rankings up here. Hungary, number 7 in the world in terms of team rankings. Kazakhstan, number 11. A little bit surprising that we didn't end up with some of the, quote, big boys here at the very end, those being, of course, France, Ukraine, Switzerland, Italy, etc. But certainly 2 very quality teams that we've seen perform game after game, match after match. I'd struggle to find any 2 teams. Of course, they've won everything they've done, of course, but 2 teams that have been as top to bottom, as complete as these 2 teams in Kazakhstan and Hungary.
I think we might have seen that because some of the teams like France and Switzerland and Italy, they've secured their spot. Whether or not they win or lose, they still are going to the Olympics. Now you have a team like Hungary who's in the 7th spot, and you have a team like Kazakhstan who's a bit lower but the 10th spot. And but with the points they're going to win, that is going to secure their slot in Rio. So I think they're going to fight harder than anyone. And let's just hope that it's enough. And we'll see what happens.
Gabor Bochko, the man who takes the stage for Hungary, one of the undisputed leaders. It seems like he's been around truly forever, and here on this stage in Richmond, BC, he can prove his worth. 10 seconds in, we're still becoming a little acquainted with each other. It doesn't get any bigger than this. This is what the whole weekend boils down to.
I think when it comes to fencing terms, Bosco is one of the biggest guys out there. It doesn't get any bigger than that. There is a Colombian out there in the audience. He's 6'7", but Boxo is probably about 6'4", 6'5", and he's just a nice, solid man there. He's very precise in his movements. Adding a little bit of pressure. Hey, we haven't seen that too much from the Hungarians.
We saw that a little bit at times in the semifinals, yeah, but I'd agree with you. The Hungarians seem throughout the tournament to be much more comfortable on their end of the piece. We're almost down here towards the very, very end for the Kazakhstanis, and you can hear their bench just absolutely erupt when he got that touch in on Bochko.
Sometimes you just need that first touch for that momentum, right? To almost prove to yourself that you can do this, and I think Kazakhstan really needs that to get some momentum rolling, and hopefully they can keep on to it if they want to win this
Also to just get into the spirit of the gold medal match, to have your friends cheering you on, just yelling, your coach, the guys who you spend probably outside of your wife, if you have one, and kids, the most time with in your life, just to be yelling, get pumped up, keep the testosterone, adrenaline going.
Well, it's one of those things too, right? Look at the audience; they're all focused on this match. They even dropped that mid curtain there. You are not distracted by anything else going around. Everyone's focus is on this match, and I think they can see or feel all the eyes on them as well.
Just over halfway through the first period. Boško been pressuring his Kazakhstani counterpart throughout much of the match. A little retreat there, and then things get back to as they were. Definitely towards our facing away from us, the left side of the piste.
We've seen the Hungarians really press for passivity, but I guess this time they don't want to do that. They're going to use the full period.
I think some of the audio is coming through from the Kazakhstani side, but even just looking over at the Hungarians as that happened, completely stoic. We mentioned it in the quarterfinals and in the semifinals as well, just very focused on the task at hand, not getting too high, too low. But if I were fencing for Hungary, I'd like a little bit of support at least. A couple kind words here and there from my teammates. I guess it's a cultural thing, their way of doing things. Boško won't be too upset, but just noticing little differences here starting off in the first, just over 20 seconds remaining. Kazakhstan leads 2-1.
Peace.
3 seconds left. Boško didn't want to entirely disengage, I don't think, but seemed pretty well established that that is the end of the first as they shake hands, and we'll be on to the second. Anything particularly surprise you there? Maybe a little more room since we're down here in the Kazakhstani end, as we're so accustomed to seeing things go on down to our right.
Well, one, especially with Boško there, he used the full 3 minutes. He's unless he's the last one up, he's been going for passivity. And yeah, he was applying a lot of pressure, and that was kind of surprising. We'll see what Andras does, and they might have changed their tactics due to the fact they know they have an opponent that that was not the Ukrainian. So we'll see what happens. But
Andras Redley for Hungary, another one of those guys that's been around for so long. You were mentioning during the semifinals that guys from Hungary basically take turns as the leaders on that squad. Just talk a little bit about how valuable it can be in positions like this to have been here before and to not have to sort of second guess yourself. Everybody, you look to your left, you see a 4-time European champion. Look to your right, and Olympic medalists, things like that. How does that benefit you in the middle of a match like this, even when you're down by 1 point?
Oh, it's when you're at this level, you usually don't get starstruck by your opponent, and so hopefully. But you know that when you have an opponent who's a champion, you can't be foolish, and your risk can't be big. And as we see from the Kazakhstani, and they're not taking big risks. They are being applied a bit of pressure, but they're not doing anything too foolish to give up that lead that they've accomplished.
Kazakhstan being backed into their end of the piste as before, but they lead 2-1. Not too much of an issue though. Backing, and the footwork battle seems to have been fairly even so far. That's a great job of getting himself out of the corner of the piste and perhaps surprising Andras Redley with that flush right towards him.
I think Andras, as you can see from the replay, he got the parry, but he didn't get the repost, and that was the big problem.
Dolgozni, Rédesz, leülsz a fenekedre, dolgozol, elő van a hegyen. Gyerünk! Keményen!
With the spot for Rio up for grabs, everyone is second guessing every decision they have to make, so they have to be very careful.
How much of that is just muscle memory, though, having the faith that you've been there before and you've qualified for the Olympics before? I mean, some of these guys have even won Olympic medals.
Yeah.
That experience must be something that you can really build on here. if you're from Hungary, you're facing a 2-point deficit, but really this game's up to 45. There's 9 periods. That's not a whole lot.
Nope, that's very right. And they do have some great muscle memory when it comes to the moves, but I think every situation is a little bit different, right? As you're facing a different opponent with different tactics. And that's the thing is now we have 2 opponents searching for that last spot, and I think they're going to fight extra hard. And we're going to see some good fencing. Bradley just can't quite finish those light touches there. And he doesn't want to push too hard, because we know that the Kazakhstani fencer will have a great flesh in his back pocket there. You pull out in just a moment.
The official instantly waves that off, ruling the Kazakhstani fencer stepped outside of the piste. Of course, the sensor went off, but so much going on there. Once you make that step towards your opponent, especially when you're right on the very far edge of the stage, no less, you're not going to be able to hang on. You better hope you get the touch before you inevitably fall off.
See, you know, you can't get a touch when you're fully off the piste, but what's kind of scary sometimes, like the race piste is amazing to watch on the finals, but a defense on, you know, it's very easy to get injured. So you have to be really careful about how you flesh and how you maneuver your tactics. It's not very, it wouldn't be very hard to sprain an ankle.
See Redley go for a little bit of a walk there. It's a little pent-up frustration, I think. We've seen from him before today. You take a look at the replay, just no hesitation once he sets it up, and he gets the top right shoulder there. And with 13 seconds remaining, it's a completely different game going into the third.
Exactly, yeah. A little bit less weight off his opponent's or his partner's shoulder when he comes on.
And that'll be the final action of the second period as they shake hands as is customary. And up next, we're going to the third with a 1-point Kazakhstani lead. Of course, the winner of this event qualifies for the Rio de Janeiro Olympics in Brazil. The entire weekend has been leading up to this. Yesterday, saw some tremendous upsets, some tremendous action with the men's singles, but what most of the people were talking about even yesterday was the men's teams competition and just how many things got sorted out. We had a couple of big storylines taken care of earlier today, including the Japanese defeating the Egyptians by 1 single hit.
Oh, what a major upset, and I think that just secured their spot.
One of the guys that Hungary's depended on so much today and throughout the tournament in general, Imre, able to get them tied up just 13 seconds into the third period. How much do you think they're going to rely on him for the rest of the match here if they're to be successful as he makes it 4-3?
As we can recall from his last match in the Estonia, when he was against Salim there, they were the ones to make the plays, and I think as we can see right now, Imre is making plays and he's making things happen. So he might be trying to create a bit of a gap because he knows it'll add pressure to the opposing team in the future, and that's exactly what he wants.
I think one thing that most of his opponents know about Imre, because he's been around for a while with the scouting report, is he's a very streaky fencer, but he can also settle things down as well. And credit there to the Kazakhstani fencer to be able to get his country tied up to try and calm one of those streaks. We'll get here with the double hit. Haven't seen hardly many of those. The space has been a little bit more exaggerated here in the early going, maybe some nerves, but just with the experienced sides feeling each other out. The third consecutive double touch.
A flush from on guard, I mean, it's kind of very noticeable. I don't know why he did that.
Maybe that's a tone setter, change things up a little bit, maybe. This gets it in your opponent's mind to always respect sort of coming off of sets, but if you you basically concede any opportunity of dancing, and Imre comes right back. Wasn't phased at all by that, and exactly 2 minutes left in the third. Hungary takes the lead once more.
I don't think there's very much that can phase this Hungarian fencer. He seems to be the type that really holds the team together. He's the glue. You know, if you need him to be defensive, he'll be defensive. If you need him to catch up, he'll catch up. And as you can see, you give him the lead and hold on to it.
so that might not be the best guy for Alexanen to try that against, but really take your pick from the Hungarian team. There's nobody who's without a ton of experience.
Yeah.
What'd you see there? It seemed Imre was in good position to go straight to the body and just absolutely handled very well.
Kazakhstan got the blade out of the way. Nice grip to the chest.
Minute 36 remaining. In the third period, 10-10. The scoring has certainly picked up a lot recently here, and you can see the move is made, and Imre just concedes the double touch. 10-10. No foul, just content to reset there and see what will come off of this reset. Both fencers right along the edge of the piece.
Okay. Imre was caught going low. Kazakhstan went high.
One of the few mistakes we've seen from him, but just a little miscalculation. You can see, as you were saying, Imre goes down and just straight up there, and another flush straight from the engagement. Yep. Kazakhstan's retaken the lead, 12-11, gold medal bout. Winner goes to Rio, and that was a great job by Imre right along the side of, with his left hand. If he wasn't left-handed, wouldn't have been able to have done that.
He was really smart, because as the Kazakhstan hit him, he only did one motion to get the point. If he had done a little bit of a seesaw motion, he might not have gotten in one motion, so he wouldn't have been awarded the point.
That's really where being left-handed benefited Imre, because he was right along the side and he was able to reach around. His opponent, of course, is as well, as we experienced a stoppage here because of electronic difficulty with the Kazakhstan fencers épée, but we reset here and Imre's got him pent in pretty well and gets him right on the shoulder, coming back across. A seesaw battle so far, momentum back and forth.
That's what makes an interesting game, you know? They both have to play defensive and offensive. You kind of see the best of both tactics from all sides. Back it up.
Alexanen's not a guy who is going to score a big point and not let you know about it. Exactly. I think we've seen that from watching other pieces and our attention being drawn to whichever one he's on whenever he's in big moments. 35 seconds remaining, 13 all. Alexanen 14-13, soon as I say that. 33 seconds remaining. That's a huge point with just over 33 seconds, just over 30 seconds remaining in the third period. Kazakhstan takes the lead back and forth battle. We can expect more of the same, I think, moving forward.
I think so. This is not how the Hungarians have been fencing for the last few matches, you know, playing defensive. This is very aggressive fencing for the Hungarians, which is nothing that we've seen. But with the score 15-14, it's not working out too poorly, but they might have to change it up a little bit.
So we change up here, end of the third. Going into the fourth, your estimation, anything surprise you so far, Matt?
No, I think it's been a pretty steady offense and defense from both sides. Again, no surprise that it was Imre that got so many of the points for the Hungarian side, and made it a really interesting game, bringing it back and forth, really pushing the other Kazakhstani fencer to also play that way as well. So.
Well, to me, I'm not surprised that it's such a close match so far, but I am surprised that the score has been a little bit in this area, meaning 29 points, almost 30 in total through 3 full periods. I thought there would be almost no chance that we get to 45 by the end of the 9, and we're on pace to just about get there. So I think it's been a little bit more offense than I would have said going in, a little more than predicted, but now it seems we're back to the feeling out process after a little back and forth bout of scoring.
I agree with you, Chris. I also figured that the Hungarians would play the defensive game, but I mean...
they seem to have played on this side, the left-hand side from our vantage point of the piece, a lot more. but Kazakhstan's also been able to turn that right around on them, coming out from the back of their area with shots like that going down low.
Yeah.
What did you see there? What was
Boxco just came in with his preparation, and he just missed, unfortunately. And because he was so close, and because the Kazakhstani fencer is a little bit smaller in stature, he just had the reach to get the point. So
that's not something you'd expect Gabor Boško to ever do. He had him backed up in the corner. You can tell him that he was setting it up and setting him up.
Yeah.
Just one of those times, as you said, he just missed and
yeah,
paid the price because he left himself exposed.
We're at that level. If you miss, you're going to pay the consequence. With the 3-point deficit, this might change the game just a little bit in how they're fencing.
One of the last guys you would expect to surrender back-to-back points, but you can see the flush just right ahead, gets him up high, and he's certainly feeling the endorphin rush there. 17-14, Kazakhstan leads now just over halfway through the fourth. Hungary shut out here in the fourth so far. I think Boško misdelivering on that first attempt has set the tone a little bit more. I don't think he's hesitant, but Kazakhstan just got a bit more confidence about them.
Yeah, a little bit more spring in their step now, and I think Boško is a little bit more hesitant about what he wants to do.
Though he is advancing down, Kazakhstan giving up some of that distance, but coming right back down this side of the piece to just past the halfway mark.
Boško wants to run the clock a bit. He's had his fun. He doesn't want to create the gap to be any further. So
we head to the fifth with a 3-point Kazakhstani lead. Admittedly, that surprised me a little bit with someone with as much experience. Good on him using his knowledge of the situation to get out of it from a Hungarian perspective. But 17-14, I think Kazakhstanis have to be pretty happy with how they've been able to perform so far.
I would have to agree with you. I think they're ecstatic with how well their athletes are performing. But now as we have Imre come up, we know this could be anyone's game. He is the gap closer, so we'll see what happens.
From a Hungarian perspective, probably nobody better to have in this situation. You may have said the same thing about Boško, but the way Imre has been able to perform in this tournament, especially earlier on in the day, was just absolutely huge, and especially getting past Estonia.
That's right.
I don't think they'd be here without him.
I agree.
What did you see there? Imre went in for the
he went in,
attack.
but he got parried, and he just continued over. He didn't go high enough, so.
Right now, 30 seconds into the fifth period, this is where you really have to dig deep. You fenced so much over the course of the last 48 hours, just all the muscle memory, everything you have left in the tank. If you have saved anything, Imre reaches back and gets a very crucial point. That brings it down to 3 points, just under 2:30 remaining in the fifth. Hungary's not going away yet.
No, let's hope that creates some momentum so they can bring it back and make it a real game.
I think Imre thought that he had that. Maybe a little bit surprised that was left open, and just went for it. And good job by the Kazakhstani to salvage the double touch.
Good damage control.
Just as we've seen so many times from the close quarters contact there, Imre somehow is the guy who's able to come out away with the only point. It's amazing sometimes how he was able to avoid all the contact. And there again.
There you go. He's taking away the momentum of the Kazakhstans. And he's bringing the Hungarians back in the game.
You can see on on the Hungarian bench. Finally a little bit of life being shown, and this is the same way that they were acting when Imre was out there putting his streak together against the Estonians.
That's right.
Down by only 1 point. This could have gotten a little bit more out of hand. I think coach did a really good job to have Imre come in the 5th, as this is the area where you can really take care of some damage control, as you were saying. And deficit now back up to 2.
With just under 2 minutes to go, Imre's got a lot of time. A lot of time.
You can tell that he's going for what he's seeing, but it's a good job on those last 2 instances of Kazakhstan to just get right in there and get there first, and split second before.
Great touch.
And there Imre is able to turn that right back around with the power. I think that's something he has his advantage to. You can tell Imre's a big guy when you see him fencing. There you could tell the power was just evident on that one.
Wow. What a great coupe, right? And the Kazakhstani just moving his arm just a little forward, and he catches it. And what a great flick. Yeah, if I was a Kazakhstani fencer, I wouldn't want to get too close to this gentleman. He's deadly. Oh!
Shots from the Hungarian bench there. Hands in the air, the most emotion we've seen out of them for the entire time. But check this out. He goes straight down and right in on the hands.
That's right.
I think deliberate is a word that we use to describe some of the Hungarian fencers, but I think also resilient is another one as well. How you can put together 4 points, surrender 2, and then come back with 3 more. 21 all. Final minute of the 5th. Kazakhstan wants to remind everybody they're still in the lead, though. They haven't trailed since earlier in the match. They are the ones who should be in control. Momentum seems to be slipping to Hungary, but Kazakhstan is the one that has more oftentimes been up. And that's 2. That's what we were talking about, the way that you can get 2 points, 3 points, back and forth, very streaky teams, guys that can put a large number of points together at any given time.
And we always see with Imre here, and he comes right back. See how he changed up his footwork a bit? I mean, he's got a plan.
What do you think that plan is? Just strictly offensive? You want to try and pin your opponent back, and I think he saw that he had that going straight upwards.
I think what he's doing is he's trying to the Kazakhstani fencer to extend his arm a bit, and he just flicks right over it at a safe distance.
As you can see here, yeah, just straight right over and makes contact. Kazakhstani can't believe that happened. And there at the end of that one, damage control on both sides, I think. A lot of momentum back and forth, but the Hungarians have to be happy, at least in some respect, to be down only 1 heading into the 6th. It'll be Alexanin for Kazakhstan against Andras Redli from Hungary. Starting to get down to the point where it pretty well comes down to this. A couple points and one favor or the other. If you can salvage double touches instead of just being caught by surprise, that could really be the difference between a gold medal and ultimately being able to go to Brazil.
Exactly. This could be the ultimate momentum period where one fencer decides to take it, and that way the team has a steady lead going to the 7th, 8th, and 9th period.
This is the transitional period, and coaches think very carefully about who they want to have in different situations. We've seen Hungary have basically the perfect lineup for different times because they have guys who are more mature, who have different skills. I think choosing the same thing with Redley, but Alexanin's no slouch on the other side as well.
Redley's patient. He's waiting for that perfect opportunity. Whereas you have the Kazakhstani fencer.
Alexanin looks over to his bench for coach advice, and you can see there another shot of the Hungarian coach feeling pretty good about things. See there Redley, as you were saying, just waiting, patient, and then the flush towards the outside corner.
I think I mentioned this the first time I was announcing. When you watch Redley's arm, it is halfway out. So when he wants to finish his extension, he's only got a little ways to go. Otherwise, if he starts from too far back, he's got a long ways to go. And I think that kind of gives him that advantage when he wants to use his arm and transition into that flush that he got that point on. Also, when you think about how far Redley's arm is out, if you want to hit Andres' body there, you have to go through a lot of reach. That's dangerous.
That's not something that Dmitry Alexanin was afraid of there, and I think he heard you right to the outside, and
that's right.
Basically almost on cue, he puts Kazakhstan up. Alexanin here on the replay just going straight forward, and you can see Redley's a little upset with himself. Wasn't sure if it actually got him or not, but
well, I think he's upset that it hit the mask to mask, right? Like, and sometimes at this time, at this level, you're almost looking for legal ways to penalize your opponent. Oh, they hit me, but you know what? The ref says shake it off. You just keep going back at it.
Dmitry Alexanin has Kazakhstan back on top, 24-23. We're entering the final minute here in the 6th period. Gold medal match of men's team fencing here at the Richmond Oval. The final event of this weekend, and Redley gets right back into it, 24-24. He's so quick coming off of that.
No, I think Redley got a little bit lucky, because if you look at the replay, the Kazakhstani fencer saw it coming. He just didn't get the point on the arm, and Redley capitalized.
Every single break counts, isn't that right, in the gold medal game? You seemed surprised by that. You saw the flush coming, and Redley was able to get on the inside first.
Yes. I thought I heard the click, and I thought it was the Kazakhstani. So.
What more can you do if you're Alexanin? You timed that perfectly, but Andres Redley, I think, with the experience, able to just tuck it in right on the inside and get the point for putting Hungary back up with under 30 seconds to go in the 6th.
There you go. Just typical Hungary behavior. You know what I mean? They don't want to ruin it what they got, so they take a break, and Kazakhstan's, I think, also happy to switch it out. So this is going to be Amir's last appearance. So I really wonder if he's going to try to create a gap, or is he going to play defensively? I'm really interested to see that.
There's a couple of different ways that you can play this. I didn't see too much conversation going on between the Hungarian head coach and his guys. I think with the amount of experience that they have, there's a lot of trust going on there. And why wouldn't you guys that have won multiple European championships, gone to Olympic Games and things of that nature? So I think Kazakhstan's still a lot more vocal, as well, at least our microphones are picking up a lot more of it. But see Kubanov for Kazakhstan coming out, and Imre's the one who will take care of the 7th here for Hungary. One of the first times recently we're down in the Hungarian end of the piste.
That's right. So my prediction is Imre will create a gap, and he will make a lot of opportunities and hopefully get a score a few points. And then we're going to have Bosco come out and hold it, and then Redley to capitalize. That's what I predict.
It depends as well how Kubanov wants to approach this, because there is a full 8.5 minutes left in the entire match. You're only down by 1, so you can't afford to rush anything. And if we've learned anything from this weekend, both of these teams are very streaky, and you can make up a lot of ground very quickly.
That's
so
right.
I think so far, Imre is at least happy enough to get it out of his area of the piste, and Kubanov doesn't seem to be very urgent or in a need to score quickly here.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of respect for the amount of points that Imre's been able to get. And when we go to a state of non-combat, that surprises me a little bit as we go off to the eighth period now. And if you're Kazakhstan, wouldn't you want as many opportunities as you can get to potentially tie it up? Or is this where you want it down in crunch time? Do you want to trust your very best guys?
I guess just the way you said it, you might want to put your trust in the very best. And that's what they're doing. That's too bad. I was kind of looking forward to seeing what Imre was going to do, but
I think the Kazakhstanis were aware that that'd be something potentially to behold. So
that's right.
Why would you try to tie it up now in such a risky endeavor with the way that he's been going all tournament? It seems like he's right on. So they're putting their faith in that man, Dmitry Alexanin, as we await Boško to come out the other side. And entering the 8th period, the 8th of 9, Hungary leads 25-24 in the men's gold medal match. We said it before, said it again. The winner of this match qualifies for the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. How big a moment it is.
It's a very big moment. Not many of us get to go to the Olympics.
Both fencers feeling each other out. Almost 25 seconds gone here in the 8th. Only 1 point though, no real rush. And fencing time, this seems like it may as well be an eternity if you're leading, just trying to preserve that. Of course, Boško looking for the double touches.
I think Boško's just trying to play the clock down so Redley can come out and they can finish it up.
Not hearing a whole lot of direction from either bench, just letting the guys go. But if you're from Kazakhstan, I think this could lay into your hands. But here we go. We're basically just getting through the 8th, and all the pressure here coming to the 9th as the crowd starts to recognize that no matter what happens, this will be the final 3 minutes. And I can't see a scenario, obviously, where the full 3 minutes isn't played out. We're not getting to 45, so
well, we have to. We have to. The last period, we got to use every second they got.
It'll be on Andras Redli for Hungary. Man who's been here before, but on the biggest stage, you know that he's going to get everything that he possibly could from his Kazakhstani counterpart, and the crowd recognizes this. For the final period of the 2016 Peter Bocconi Vancouver Fencing World Cup. What a weekend it's been, and no better way, I think, to finish up the weekend than with a 1-point match going into the 9th.
Exactly. Two amazing fencers.
What are you looking from here if you're on the Kazakhstani side? What advice did your coach just give you?
I couldn't possibly imagine the pressure that the athlete is under and what the coach could be saying. I've personally fenced with Andras, and that's an experience in itself.
Now, do you think for the time being, Redley from Hungary is going to be content with just getting the clock down a little bit? He goes for it, 26. What a chance that was. A risk in itself, but I guess if you're going to go on the offensive, you may as well try and surprise your opponent.
Exactly.
What a different story that is right now, 26-24. How different is that now with under 2.5 minutes left, and it's a 2-point game? That changes things substantially.
Especially when it's the last period, right? I mean, you have no time to play. Now you got to set it up, and you have to go. Oh. Wow, that was a great toe touch, I believe.
He reached for it, yeah, he saw it coming, and Alimjanov from Kazakhstan with just over 2 minutes left. That was really big by Redley then, so now it's a 1-point game, and he comes back, makes it 2. Back and forth, back and forth. Let's say resiliency again.
Yeah, he wants to hold that 2-point lead as long as possible.
You can see on our replay here, just come to close quarters, and Redley just able to get it. Kazakhstani went down low, and Redley read it and went over the top. So we reset with exactly 2 minutes remaining in the 9th period here. You're going to get everything you can get out of these two fighters. 72 hours essentially of fencing. to go for the double touch. That's exactly what Hungary wants to lure them into. Andras Redley, a guy who's been here plenty of times before, knows exactly how he's going to play it. There's not much need for his coaches and teammates over there. Coaches not even watching the action. Coaches, teammates on the Kazakhstani and Hungary side walking around because they can't bear the sight. Comes down to the last minute 35. Andras Redley and Hungary lead by 2. Oh. And that is absolutely huge. What happened there?
Redley attacked and he missed, and unfortunately didn't pull back in time, and Redley got the remise in. He is extremely lucky, and now there's a lot of pressure on the Kazakhstani fencer to make something happen.
To act very quickly, because a minute 30 is some time, but not plenty when it's 3 full scores. And that'll help, certainly getting it to 2 scores with just over a minute 15 left. It is possible, but it's going to be obvious going on the attack, and Hungary's, as we all know, is very apt at defending and feel very comfortable in their own area, where they're most likely going to be pinned back to.
Andras is a very well-rounded fencer, so he can be quite aggressive and defensive. So
just like that, the snap of a finger, he's able to turn it right back, and he steps so well that the way that he's able to transfer momentum to his heel and come back forward.
That's the second action.
You saw that right away. The first action was pretty clear, and as the Kazakhstani Alim Zanov was well off the piece, as you were mentioning, the raised piece, which can be a little bit dangerous. Redley will certainly take that. Everybody on the Hungary side just pretty much hoping for, if not the clock to keep going, just for double touches. It's even better, a 4-point lead with under a minute remaining. No celebration, not yet, but 4 points. Very different from the 1 and 2 that we were seeing a minute and a half and 2 minutes ago. This has been just a masterful performance of being able to hang back and strike while on the defensive.
These are such light touches from Redley too. These are amazing.
When it's so abundantly clear that this should be a one-sided offense versus defense, the way that Redley's able to just rattle off these points, we've seen it so often in the tournament, some of his teammates, but it's now a 6-point lead, almost unthinkable about 45 seconds of play ago.
Yes. This is what I talked about in the beginning of the match. You know, it comes down to experience, and Hungary's been in this position before. Now they're holding the lead, and I can't see Kazakhstan digging themselves out of this hole.
Elmir Alimzhanov from Kazakhstan against Andras Redley. 30 seconds remaining in the 9th period. The streak continues, man. That's an 8-point advantage now, getting down towards the end of our men's team final here. Team Hungary coming out and representing in fine form. Defense fully on display with the double touch there. Just getting back to what we were seeing earlier in maybe the middle frames, just the ability to go for those double touches, but also just play so soundly on defense.
Yeah, unfortunately, if Andras retreats all the time, it takes about 2 seconds to score a point. And with the time on the clock left, there's just not enough time.
I think we're going to be here for a little while to see, because we are in the gold medal game after all, so why would you not try to succeed the very most? And that is a point for Alimzhanov, for Kazakhstan to get it down to 7 points. So you're saying there's a chance, but with 18 seconds left, Andras Redley's going to play the most defensively as possible, and hopefully for his sake and for the Hungary team's sake, take at least a couple seconds off the clock every time.
Yeah.
Yellow card shown there to Alimzhanov.
Yeah, he ran into him.
Just the point there to make it a 6-point deficit, but has to be thinking a little bit, maybe where was that earlier? Took advantage of that opportunity. 12 seconds left. Still a strong performance here from Kazakhstan in the tournament. I think they have to be proud of what they put together here today in Richmond. Everybody on the Hungarian side standing in anticipation with a 5-point lead with 11 seconds remaining here. Redley just retreats to try to get as much time off the clock, and after all that, after the flush comes only a second and a half of official clock comes.
That's right.
Is able to come off.
And now we need those hundreds of seconds to really count down.
If you're on the Hungarian side, though, not a whole lot of danger. The official motions of the Kazakhstani fence are saying, no, that was definitely a second motion offense there, and yeah, time does come off the clock, so 7 seconds, and they are telling the Hungarian team to get back off of the court, and Redley just concedes the touch there. No harm, no foul. A 5-point lead now, just wanting to take as much time off the clock as possible. With just over 5 seconds remaining here in the gold medal match. We expect it will be Hungary with 5 seconds remaining. They'll take the men team's final against Team Kazakhstan, and Redley was able to even get that one in there. 42 points in total. A little bit less than what we were on pace for in the early going, but with 3.8 seconds remaining exactly. A 6-point win for Team Hungary, and they're very happy celebrating on the side. You can see them. Coach there, and Redley is met by his teammates. Imre, so important, Boschko, everybody coming together. They know they have won the gold medal here in Richmond, British Columbia, and more importantly, they have booked their spot in the Rio Olympics for 2016. So many momentum swings there, Matt. So much back and forth. Hungary's the team. We sort of picked them out a little earlier on in the tournament, and able to beat France in overtime. And maybe the team that can beat France is the one that can actually get out of here with the win. And lo and behold, that's exactly the way it went.
I'm looking forward to seeing Hungary face up against France again at Rio. That'll be quite the excitement. As this is the last qualifying spot for the Olympics, the teams are set. We know who's going.
The shot there, Canada's own.
Laurie Shun.
Laurie Shun greeting all the Hungarians with warm embraces.
Past Olympian.
He is certainly one of the heroes of the tournament for Hungary.
David Baconi.
Good job, man.
See scenes of the guys as they're realizing it's all kicked in, that they're champions. They came to Richmond all the way, North Vancouver, Canada. They're going to be able to go to Brazil now in August, in large part due to that man. Redley fenced absolutely incredibly today.
Yes, he was. I think it was a whole team effort, you know, and just watching them all fence, just amazing. Imre, you
can see as soon as the victory took place, teammates coming up. It was established for a couple minutes that Hungary was going to win, but we'll be right back with the medal ceremony. Hungary, the gold medalists here in Richmond at the Peter Baconi Vancouver Fencing World Cup on Via Sport.